So I've been playing more Avowed, and I think I'm getting hooked. In today's video, I'm going to take you all through my journeys in Paradis. I guess I took a different path to the city than the intended one, because I ran into Octave the Firebrand here. He was a little bit more difficult than I could handle right now. But eventually I got away from him and found my way to Paradis. Then I got assassinated. There's not even a joke there, you literally just die as soon as you step into the city. But I didn't stay dead. I woke up in Liviana's clinic, and when I asked her if she had ever seen this before, she said, "Not as often as I used to." That just dropped a lore bomb on me that apparently resurrection used to be a pretty common thing in this world. Huh, neat. In all seriousness though, I love when games do this, just randomly in conversation just drop some lore on you that you would not have expected or seen coming. It really makes the world feel more alive and lived in. Liviana told me to go see the Watcher to make sure my soul was healthy, and I figured I should go swing by the Ambassador's office too. I picked up some side quests, and the Ambassador tasked me with finding the people who killed me. At this point, I was let loose and free to explore Paradis. The first thing I did was check out a cabin for a woman I had met at the docks. It had been overrun by Zarups, a tribal lizard folk, but I found out when I went there that she had actually invited them in. Apparently she only had a half a soul or something like that, and one of the Zarups was born with the other half of her soul. I don't know, but I cleared out her cabin and let her go run off to be the Lizard Queen. Then I decided to help some people who were trying to flee the city. I grabbed their land deeds from someone who was in an unfortunate predicament, and then went to grab some Andra's Kiss to heal a blind guy. The people I was bringing this stuff to lived in Shantytown. This is a sort of slum inhabited by people who had lived in Paradis, but were then kicked out when the Adirans came in. I know we play as an Adiran envoy in this game, but I'm starting to think the Adirans might not be the good guys here. I dropped the stuff off to the people, and they asked me to go and work out a deal with the smugglers who were going to get them out of there. Apparently the smugglers had just doubled the price out of nowhere, and they needed it to go back down because they couldn't afford the new price. I agreed to talk to the smugglers for them, but before I did that, I went around Shantytown and found necklaces for a pirate. He offered to give me his as a reward, but I told him I didn't want it, and so he gave me some money instead. I went and talked to the smugglers, and it turns out our smuggler friend from the island was working with this group, so she helped me work out a deal. At some point during my adventures in Shantytown, I came across a pistol. And if a game lets me specialize in pistols, I will specialize in pistols. This quickly took the place of my bow, and as an added bonus, it means I can have a spellbook in my other hand, which really adds to the magical ranger build that I'm developing. That's enough side questing for now, so I went and recruited Marius onto the squad to help me find the people who killed me. We went to the scene of the crime and found a bottle of poison. On our way to talk to the local alchemist, we ran across this guy named Thala, who told me not to make any kind of problems in his territory. Thala is the leader of the Sparrowhawks, the local gang in Paradis, and I immediately caused trouble for him by stopping some of his men from shaking down the alchemist. This caused Thala to attack us in a pretty fun boss fight. The alchemist told us that one of his customers had bought the poison and gave us a lead on where to go next. We fought through the Sparrowhawks on our way out and made our way to the Temple of Andra, getting jumped by some rebels in a back alley on the way. The woman at the temple didn't trust me, but once I told her I helped some locals, she admitted to me that she was a rebel and told me where to find her leader. I feel like that should not have been that easy. Anyway, the guy I was looking for was just underneath the temple. I made my way through a dungeon, fought through some rebels, and came face to face with the man who had shot me. And I let him go. By this point, I really don't trust the Adiran Empire, and it would be nice to have some allies in my back pocket if I ever do decide to fight them. If that's something you can even do in this game. After that, it was back to more side quests. I went and found a missing cartographer, and then went on to try to find a memory that the voice in my head had lost. On my way there, I came across these yellow band bandits. I tried a couple of times to fight them, but they were just too strong for me. So I snuck past them and found the memory. Apparently it was a memory related to the people who used to live here, the long-gone group of people now referred to as the Godless. That's not to say they didn't worship a god, most of their ruins are temples. It's just nobody knows who that god was. I have a sneaking suspicion, though, that the voice in our head might just be that god. Anyway, after retrieving the memory, I went on to the Watcher who gave my soul a clean bill of health. I reported back to the Ambassador, and Inquisitor Ludwin decided to crash the party. She might look and act like a villain ripped right out of the Fable series, but I swear y'all, she's on our side, and the Adirans are the good guys. In all seriousness, this is the point when any hope of me trusting the Adirans flew right out the window. The Ambassador tasked me with going to the Emerald Stair to talk to some animancers about the Dream Scourge. But first, I wanted to wrap up a few more side quests around Paradis. First, I went back and challenged Octav the Firebrand for a bounty. He was nowhere nearly as difficult as he was the first time we came through here. Then I went to find an Adiran expedition team that had gotten lost in a cave trying to find a godlike. And something tells me I was supposed to come by here earlier than I did. The combat encounters were way easier than I expected them to be. Anyway, I continued on and found one of the members of the expedition team who was hurt. I touched him and he felt better. Because apparently that's a power I have now, just to touch people and heal them. That'd be nice if I could use it in combat. A little further in, I found the godlike that the expedition team was looking for, Sargamus. He's a golden elf who's a godlike for the god Aothis. The god who, if I'm putting things together correctly, was the main antagonist for the previous game? That has me concerned. Anyway, apparently one of Aothis's bones is further on in the cave, and Sargamus wants us to go get it for him. I don't see what could go wrong. Oh, that's what could go wrong. Yeah, remember that expedition team I was originally here to find? Turns out Sargamus had sucked their souls out and was going to send them to an eternal torment in order to give his god a body. I knew I was getting weird vibes from him. Once we had stopped Sargamus, the voice in my head talked to me again. They said they would remove the essence from the would-be body, sending the expedition team's souls onto the wheel in order to be reincarnated. In exchange, I would give them the would-be body. They thought they could use the Adra in it in order to maybe inhabit it one day. I figured it was a pretty good deal, put the souls to rest, and this voice in my head doesn't seem like too bad of a person. After that, I continued collecting bounties. First up was Tempestuous Luandi. On top of having a fun name to say, this was a really good bounty to take because I got this really cool shock pistol out of the deal. The next bounty I took was for the spider Nakib. I have no idea if I'm saying that right, but it wasn't too difficult of a battle, and before I knew it, I was on to face Ralga. Once again, no idea if I'm saying that name right, but we took him down, and that was all of the bounties. Except one. Remember those bandits who did me in a couple times on my way to the Watcher? Yeah, there was a bounty out for them. And honestly, I wanted my revenge. I prepared, got potions together, and went on to take on the Yellow Bands. It was a hard-fought battle made even more difficult by the 2 or 3 bears running around, but eventually we came out on top, grabbed all their bands, and turned it in for a bounty. That about does it for my time around Paradis, and next week I'm going to the Emerald Stair. So just a few thoughts about the game up to this point. Y'all, I am still loving this game. I don't know what it is, but it's scratching some sort of itch that I didn't even know I had. Like, it feels more like a classic BioWare game than Dragon Age the Veilguard did. And I know in the last video I talked about how the game seemed very main quest focused, but that's not entirely the case. It's definitely a quest focused game, but instead of having just like one major main quest, they've kind of stacked a bunch of side quests up in a trench coat. I didn't know how I was feeling about it at first, but honestly, now that I'm giving it some thought, I really like that approach because it means that each person playing will be able to create their own adventure and kind of have their own story. It kind of takes RPG decision making to another level where on top of the decisions you make during quests, your story will also be determined by what quest you choose to take. But on the flip side of that, it does mean some very important stuff for the story can be skipped. So if you've been watching these videos and you're interested in playing for yourself, just know that you do need to do the side quest in this game. The game's still gorgeous, the combat's still fun, everything else I said in the last video is still true. I just had a few more thoughts there, but that's all for the new thoughts. If you've enjoyed it, like, subscribe, and I'm gonna get back to playing. Bye!